a select and secretive committee of analysis, intellectuals, and rapscallions convene in Nick's living room to burn the midnight oil and concoct the best segment in all of sports television. That's right. It's time for Nick's Tiers.
Thank you, and we do have a short show today, so let's get right to it. The teams at the bottom of the tiers, teams that don't even make the tiers, and the Cardinals are there on purpose. The Cardinals right now are the worst team in football. They're poorly coached. The offense stinks.
Yikes.
The defense not much better. They're the worst team in football. Now, hanging by a thread. These teams, any of them lose this week, they're off the tiers next week. I hate to put Jacksonville there, but I have to. The Raiders got a bye week. It was one of their best weeks of the year this week, the bye week with the Broncos. We already know. All right, next. I don't believe you. I'm sorry, I just don't believe you. All of these teams have 3 or 4 wins. I want to believe in Seattle and Atlanta. They would be such wonderful stories moving off their long-term quarterbacks and then all of a sudden having a better season than they did with those quarterbacks. Indy, all 3 of its wins have come in the final seconds. And the Jets, I know you have 2 resounding wins in a row, but you're still the Jets. Next, living off reputation. If you had not watched football ever before this season, Rams, Ravens, Packers, and Bucks, you'd say, they're fine. They're fine. Instead, all of them still have top 12 Super Bowl odds purely because of the reputation, most notably of their quarterbacks and what they have done in seasons past. Next, begrudging respect.
Look who's back!
I mean, I can't believe the Patriots have done it.
Wow.
I can't. These 4 teams over the last 3 weeks are a combined 10-2. And the 2 losses, one came to the Eagles this past week by Dallas, and the other was the Patriots in overtime with a backup quarterback who's now obviously their better quarterback. Okay. The Titans under Vrabel just find ways to win, and the Giants are 5-1. Got to respect them. All right, next tier, unique tier. 2019 LSU. That might be the best college football team ever. We're finding out why. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow. Turns out it's good enough to be pretty damn good in the NFL as well. These 2 teams, it's just the Vikings, it's Justin Jefferson and pieces. The Bengals, it's Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow and pieces. And they're legitimate contending teams. 2019 LSU, turns out pretty good team. Get healthy. This tier. All 3 of these teams are championship weekend caliber if they get whole. Right now, they are not whole. The injuries for the Niners are brutal, and for the Chargers, we know how bad they are, and for the Dolphins, obviously, it's Tua. What's up, bro?
I got to step in here. Dallas, you tried to give them a little respect. I don't think you did. They should be on this tier, Nick. First of all, I think they're as good or better than any of those 3 teams. And they do fit the get healthy mode too, because now Dak will be back. So you gotta put Dallas up there. They're better than Cincinnati and Minnesota.
Good argument.
Well, so I understand what you're saying. My argument would be Dallas is already healthy now that Dak is back, and I'm gonna just sneak in a take here on Micah Parsons. All right. Micah Parsons has been unbelievable. Micah Parsons has been the Defensive Player of the Year up to this point. Everyone, though, is saying, he's like Lawrence Taylor, and then assigning him the impact of Lawrence Taylor. I want to dial that back just a bit. I think if Micah Parsons doesn't continue to play like Lawrence Taylor as he has the first month of the season, Cowboys even take a bit of a step back as well. I'm fine with where I have the Cowboys. All right, now what everyone's waiting for. Where, oh where, do I have the Bills, the Chiefs, and of course the undefeated Eagles? Best 2 teams, reveal it. It's really hard to say who's better, the Bills or the Chiefs. That team,
is it?
I don't know. The Chiefs had a lead with less than 90 seconds remaining. The Bills got a score. The Chiefs didn't. Everybody knows they're the best 2 teams. Everybody knows that those 2 teams, no matter the record, are head and shoulders above everyone else. The Bills won a coin flip game, so we give them credit. Mr. James Jones, I am told you have an issue with this point of the tiers.
I do, because I think Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings should be up there in those best 3 teams, right?
Really?
The Minnesota Vikings is playing really good football. And it pains me, as a Green Bay Packer, it pains me to say that. But when you look at, you talked about Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
Big reason why. But Kirk Cousins doesn't get the respect neither, right? Strictly because he hasn't won in the big games, in the playoffs and all that, right? Neither has Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen has to get over that playoff hump too, right? It's about winning Super Bowls, right? Josh Allen hasn't been there. Kirk Cousins hasn't been there. So for me, it's not about the regular season. It's about playoffs for these 2 quarterbacks. But when you talk about teams They run the football. They got a superstar receiver. They get after the passer. They got a really good defense. Patrick Peterson is playing at a high level. They need to be up there with those two best teams. It needs to be the best three teams in the NFL.
Okay, so my issue for the Vikings, just quickly, playing Detroit takes an insane comeback in the final 5 minutes to win. They did everything they could to blow that game against New Orleans, the early morning London game, and they trailed the Bears, who haven't been on the tiers for one moment all year, with 3 minutes left. So I give them respect, but I don't think they're as good as the Bills or Kansas City.
It's all about winning.
That's fair. All that leaves, speaking it's all about winning, is the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, to me, they're undefeated, but they're not unquestioned Wildes, and my point is very simple. I got to figure out what's going on with them offensively in the second half of these games. Every game, it seemed 5 of their 6 games, they jump out to these huge first half leads. They hold on for dear life. I want to know what's happening there. But as long as they're undefeated and they're the only undefeated, they will remain at the top of the tiers.
Excellent tiers as always. I have one small change. And, you know, usually I like to do these petitions with the enthusiasm of LeBron hugging an opponent while he's down 20. But this time, I do it begrudgingly. The New York Jets probably need to move up. I am sorry. They do. They're 4-2. They're probably moving up 2 tiers. First, number one reason, the prince that was promised. Yes, I'm talking about Zach Wilson. Oh, Flacco's not walking through that door anymore. Zach Wilson, 3-0, 30 points a game, 2 giveaways, getting it done. Reason number 2. Look at this saucy attitude.
Now this
Sauce Gardner, James, you'll love this video. I put in a Packers video for you, James. Sauce,
that hat
walking
is smart,
around.
You knew I was leaving today.
Oh,
you got to rub it in.
Here's the thing. Not talking trash if you can back it up. Lowest pass rating allowed. Now, granted, this is a dusty graphic because there's 2 Eagles up there, but at the bottom, there's Sauce Gardner. And reason number 3, Quinnen Williams.
I love it.
Prior to this week, probably 2 biggest highlights were, number 1, saying, blessing himself while he was sneezing, and then yelling at his coach. All of a sudden, this guy, Defensive Player of the Week, and we look at highest pressure rate allowed among interior D linemen. Whoa, there he is, number 1. Yeah. So I hate to say it, I don't necessarily like the Jets, but that team is sneaky good.
Listen, the defense is not sneaky good. The defense is legitimately good. I understand they're undefeated since Zach came back. Zach has actually not played overwhelming. He hasn't even really played that well since he's been back. If I see a little more from Zach Wilson, we can move them up, but that defense has been unbelievable.
The prince that was promised. You don't call him Zach. You can call him the prince that was promised.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.